Keith,
Not present, but she has given us notice that she may be late.
Claire Johnson, Carla McCord,
Present.
Matt McGrath. Present. Michael Rulon,
Present.
Chris Farrell.
Here.
Thank you, folks. Upcoming events, reminder that we have every month about Flagstaff 365. Please check that out and attend things as you are able. And that,
Yes, so hopefully you received our newsletter, if you signed up for our newsletter, that is. I believe you all are, maybe our new. We'll get you on that, but it went out today about the community orchard planting day at Bushmaster Park on August 14th at 4 o'clock. And as you remember, this is a BIA grantee who's holding this event to plant sapling fruit trees on Arbor Day. Is there anything else I need to add, Corey? Oh, I think we have a participant in the lobby. All right, and then, you know, the Coconino Center for the Arts, 40th anniversary, they have some really cool events going on. September 6th through the 8th. I've given you the link, but they, I think they have a really wonderful exhibition. I know there's a monsoon dinner. You know, so we encourage your support. Then the Arizona Administrators Meeting is a definite for September 20th. I think I gave you the indication that it probably would be. We will have a detailed agenda in the next 2 weeks, but we did book the national speaker, Jack Becker. And so we're really excited about that. And there'll be a little, you know, co-production with Scottsdale Public Art for this event. And then, yes, the annual retreat and the October meeting will be on October 25th. As you remember, we have a conflict with Indigenous Peoples Day now in perpetuity because it's the second Monday of October and we're the second Monday of the month. And it's really good to combine with one of these meetings, you know, with the retreat anyway. So that's what we'll do. And that's it.
is there any information yet on the venue for the retreat or not yet?
We're gonna have it at Moonshine.
Oh,
That's a good spot to do it.
Maybe we'll talk more about the lunar landing. And more seriously. But we'll see. Yes, but we're gonna have it up there.
great, thank you. Public participation, did we have any?
Did you receive anything?
I did not.
So moving forward to the approval of the minutes, did folks have an opportunity to look at the July minutes? And if so, is there discussion or may I entertain a motion to approve them as submitted?
So.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the July minutes of the BPAC meeting. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Thank you. One abstention.
Can I ask Craig, what time did Claire Edelman Heath come out?
4:02.
4:02. Thank you.
The motion carries and the minutes are approved. Thank you. Moving forward to the announcements.
Well, with great pleasure, I introduce our new commissioner, and I want to let you know he was desperately trying to get in to the meeting last time. The link in the agenda was broken. And I think he was texting and emailing several of us at the table, but we were politely not looking at our phones and our emails during the meeting, and we missed it. But Michael, you know, has a variety of background. I'm gonna let him tell a little bit more about himself. But he's currently, I know you directed a recent show at Stargazer Theater, and you teach French at NAU. But I'm gonna let you take it from there, introduce yourself, and then we'll go around the table and introduce ourselves to you.
Okay, I'm Michael Rulon, any pronouns as long as they're used respectfully. So yeah, I am an 11-year resident of Flagstaff. I moved here in 2013 when I got my job at NAU teaching French. I now also teach world cinema. directed an international film series until the budget for that was cut. I direct the NAU Global Cabaret, which is a performance group. I have worked with, I believe, 4 theater companies in Northern Arizona: Theatricos, Stargazer, Emerson Theater Collaborative, and Arizona Adventure Theater. Director, actor, put me in the booth, just don't ask me to do lights. I came here from Harborough, North Carolina, 3 feet west of Chapel Hill, which is another town that really, really loves its public art. And I've also, Chris will tell you, I've been on 1 or 2 grant proposals before. So I thought it would be nice to be on the other end of the process. And,
It's much better.
it is. And I, like I said, I really enjoyed seeing the different projects that were proposed for the utility boxes and the Murdoch Park. I wish I could have been here last month to join in the appreciation, but they were really impressive projects. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else we can do to help make Flagstaff even more beautiful than it already is.
Why don't we turn you around and you can meet council member 3?
We met once or twice.
Few times here and there.
Yeah.
Often with theatricals and various other things. So,
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
In this role, I'm actually the community investment director, so I get to work with a lot of the staff.
Nice.
On various projects and.
I report to Dave.
She reports.
I am so sorry.
I will. Sometimes she probably is too. No, I just thought I'd clarify why I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Since we know each other personally.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for joining the group.
I'm happy to be here.
Carla McCourt, Vice Chair. And I've been on and off the commission for about 4 years now.
Yes.
I have a fine arts background, but also work in construction and own a marketing and design firm for quite some time. So my expertise tends to be procurement, practical applications with.
Craig Zanetko. I am the recording secretary for the Beautification Public Art Commission for today. My replacement has been hired, although she had prior plans. So Annalisa Hansen will be sitting here next month. But it's good to meet you.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to the screen. Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, how are you? I feel like I'm a guest today, but my name's Amy Hagan. I'm the Assistant Parks and Recreation Director, and know a handful of you in the room, and very nice to meet you. And thank you for the invite today for this commission.
We have a close relationship with pros, Parks, Recreation, Open Spaces, and Events. And then Claire.
Hi, great to meet you. I'm Claire Edelman Heath. I am a landscape architect here in town, and I've had the opportunity to work on a good bit of public projects with art pieces. So it's neat to be a part of this process, and yeah, it's great to meet you.
I'm Kristen Corrito, and I'm Beautification Arts and Sciences Project Administrator. Nice to meet you.
I'm Corey. I'm Collections Beautification Public Art Project Administrator. I've only been here for about 2 months, so I'm still getting into my role, but I've taken over Beautification and Action grants from Kristen, the Downtown Flower Project, and building our public art collections database, which we've published 12 works to now. So that's something I think Janet's going to highlight.
Okay, and we already met Jana Weldon, Beautification Arts and Sciences Program Manager. I did not realize that you were into cinema. I just mentioned my dedication to film was tested a week ago. I went to, I drove from Phoenix, not from here. I drove down to Tucson, and at 7 o'clock, I saw the restoration of the Seven Samurai, as you know, which is on national tour for its 70th anniversary. The Loft in Tucson is the only place in the state that was showing it. They were delayed 25 minutes for difficulty. As you know, it's a 3-hour and 40-minute movie. I got home at 1 a.m.
But it was perfect.
And it's a beautiful restoration. Okay, next.
Hi, Mike Cruz, good to meet you. I've been on the commission for 2 terms and I've been chair for 2 years. And I've been in Flagstaff since 2018. I work at NAU full-time in the Student Service Center. And I also teach sociology classes, just 1 class a semester at Adjunct. So glad you're on the commission. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Chris. Michael and I have known each other the entire time I've been in Flagstaff with all the shows he's done at Theatricals. Outgoing executive director at Theatricals, attending my last event.
Hi, Michael. My name is Matt McGrath. I've been here in town for about 6 years and just started my 2nd term on EPAC, which is awesome. I live and work over on the east side, so I have a strong interest in expanding our offerings all across town. And am married to an artist, and finally, just recently picked up my old camera for the first time in many, many years. Looking to get back into photography myself a little bit. So really, welcome to the commission. Glad to have you.
Thank you. And thank you to Anthony Garcia for nudging me to join.
Absolutely. Outside of
Sprouts.
Sprouts, outside of
Yeah.
Sprouts. I knew it was like, it was a store.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to officially tell you that the Lone Tree Overpass, at least the bridge portion, there has been a delay in that project of some significant duration. Basically, the Arizona Materials, which is the cement plant, needs to be moved. And I know the city is wanting to help find them a space in Flagstaff, still try to keep business within Flagstaff. And obviously, you know, it's very difficult to relocate a cement factory. So that stalled the project for now. It stalled the bridge portion, which is where the art is. They're gonna go ahead and go down Lone Tree and do the rest of the streetscape. So they're gonna go forward on the project, but our art portion is definitely delayed. I think March is the soonest that they'll bring that contract to council. Is at least what I understand. And we're really hopeful about March. Hope.
Did we not see this coming? I mean, the cement plant's been
You're
there.
gonna have to ask the capital projects.
And I can speak to it a little bit.
Yes.
I know I'm not able, but I actually was a part of trying to work on this. We've been working with Arizona Materials for multiple years, trying to find the right spot. It's been a long process, and there's actually consultants involved as well. It's like staff and consultants all trying to figure out where to put them. There's been a couple sites that they've tried to work on, and things haven't worked out within code. It is a difficult type of activity to move, and it's also an important part of the industry. So yes, we have been working on it for a long time. No, that did not get us done on time.
And the other thing if you recall, we're also gonna do a memorial plaque for Brett Peterson, who was the head of capital projects management. And that is we're gonna go forward with the design. We're gonna go ahead and do that design in this gap time and get that finished. And so whenever it goes, it's all ready and we don't have to like worry about catching up on that. So, okay. So next, publications. I'm going to hand to you. We're going to start passing these around. 2 publications that I ordered for you guys. One is from CodaWorks. It's just about the economic power of public art, and something I truly know and believe in. And we will see. Let's see. I think that's enough for down there. And we just send it to you down that way. And then council member suite and
Do we want to give one to Chris?
yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Sculpture Magazine, which has a kind of a dedication to Art in Parks in May. And we were featured. We did a sponsored ad. So, but cruise that as well. And more down there. Then our video is complete. And Kristen is for the multicultural
Oh, this is
art
it?
exhibition. Yes. Yes. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Yes.
So we're really excited. We hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions after the video, let us know. But we just sent it out today to all of our
Yeah.
e-subscribers.
In that newsletter, so.
Icons. I don't see them on Flagstaff very often, and this has been a concern. I brought Rose to the county park and we walked along the trails and I said to Rose, what do you think? Should we have a sculpture exhibition with an Indigenous representation theme here? And we're talking about the different ideas for the project and where we wanted the art to be. And once we had clarity for the space, it started to sprinkle. It was a real gentle sprinkle. And I told Jenna, in my Dana culture, we talk about spirituality and how we believe the holy ones that agree with a prayer or a conversation, they bless it with moisture. So it sealed the deal.
That's as loud as this.
Through the visibility concept, community members wanted more Indigenous names for streets, buildings, parks, and public art to depict and honor Indigenous people. As conversations grew, it turned to including other people of color to have visibility through the arts. It was important to take on Indigenous kinship attitude and to share the space with other relatives through multicultural means.
The decision to open up the project from Indigenous to multicultural was great because one of the things we struggle with in the city is finding diverse representation in the artists and the art. Once you parcel it out into the different groups and say, okay, how many people in those groups are artists and how many people in those groups can do public art, the pool gets smaller and smaller, and sometimes we tend to work with the same artists.
We have an opportunity to showcase art with the important theme and purpose of representing Indigenous cultures. I discovered the call to artists, and this particular request was for artwork that would embody or include cultural traditions like iconography, storytelling, or a connection to nature, the land, or the community. Having studied anthropology in college, I was really inspired by this particular project's concept. So I worked with my friend and fellow artist, Reggie Fitchett with Divine Art Creations to come up with an idea, and we applied. And then when we were chosen as one of the 4 artists to participate, I was super excited. To be included in a project representing multicultural perspectives in a public setting was a really wonderful opportunity for me to share my perspective and values in a way that would also enrich my local community.
Citizens of Flagstaff are very proud and outspoken about what Flagstaff is. They want things to be unique and not necessarily something you'll see in any other town that doesn't represent the city in some way. And this way, public art really is about placemaking.
And so putting the art exhibition in a natural setting has been very important. It has tied it to its core because the relationship between the Indigenous cultures, nature, and the city is so strong.
To me and my people, Flagstaff has very big spiritual significance. Growing up off the reservation, Northern Arizona has allowed me to connect with nature. It's where I draw inspiration for my art. I've always felt that the most important thing an artist can do is receive recognition on a hometown level. It is a huge honor.
And it's really nice to be able to have a part of my culture represented here for the city of Flagstaff.
My goal for this project is to inspire others with my art. I love to study ancient Mexican cultures and draw inspiration from them when I'm creating. Over time, I've been developing this sense to keep digging and researching, learning that everything is connected to culture and nature. All this information is in my DNA, and I think it's important to share it with people to keep the culture alive.
My dad was one of the first generation sculptors of the stone sculpture movement of Zimbabwe, where I was born and raised. I wanted to understand why my dad was an artist, and I aspired to be like him from a young age. Since then, I have always wanted to be an artist to share my family-oriented culture across the globe. The seed of Flagstaff is acknowledging the importance of including art from all walks of life in the community, and I love that.
My parents kind of scared me away from pursuing a career in art at a young age, so I went to college and I didn't make much artwork for over a decade. It was only once I got back to Flagstaff and discovered these grant funding opportunities to participate in public art programs that I picked it back up again.
Art always takes a backseat when funding is low or scarce. It's important to highlight the city's effort to support artists and fund these types of projects.
From a public parks perspective, these open spaces provide opportunities for personal enrichment and enjoyment. Parks also play an important role in mental health, stress relief, mindfulness, and contemplation. When you add the opportunity to enjoy the arts in an outdoor setting, in my view, you're getting the best of both worlds.
It speaks volumes about making someone feel welcome and like they belong. And this project is a way to do that.
Now it is my honor to introduce my friend, Liz Archuleta. I want to thank the city of Flagstaff and Coconino County for their collaboration on this incredible project and this addition to the Elizabeth Liz C. Archuleta Park.
A wonderful thing for the people coming into this area to see how the art is tied to the land. It gives all the artists an opportunity to share their stories. And it shows that Flagstaff is recognizing all different types of cultures. And that's a major thing.
Our culture has really evolved as a whole, and I feel like nowadays society is much more purposefully inclusive and celebratory of various cultures. They're all here and all in the mix, and I think this is one way that I can support the movement of embracing, including, and celebrating diversity.
It's about love. It's about togetherness.
It's about preservation.
I truly believe these types of projects bring people together and they come to appreciate the healing qualities of art. Being represented in a public space also affirms belonging and inclusivity. It engages all community members to see what is important to people and to begin to appreciate each other.
Creativity is a silent universal language that weaves all cultures together.
Very nice.
I like the B roll.
So obviously it'll play without the little drags and glitches better on your laptop. So look for that, newsletter in your email box. And you can, but again, if you do that, we are going to, figure out as staff some good uses for this. We might show it on Indigenous Peoples' Day, at council or, on or around that date. So anyway, but it is on our website. It is out there, and you may share it. We'll make sure that we, email you the link. Okay, and then next, the last one is actually from Corey Woodall. She's already mentioned it with the Public Art Archive launch, and that link is also in the newsletter. Do we want to pull it up, or do you just?
Feel free to peruse at your leisure. It's there.
Yes.
And we will be adding more works, and that will come out at our next meetings. We'll just give you updates on
I mean, we picked obviously the 5 pieces in one. And then we picked the 7 that we had a professional photography for. So that's what we launched with. And then the other staff announcement I have is just the order of the agenda so that we can take the items that Amy Hagan is associated with first. All right.
And that's the end of our announcements. So moving forward to action item G1.
Yeah, so this is to go over the placement of this work of art here by Jean Gallivan, who has offered to donate his sculpture to us. Oops. And so just to refresh, this is the artwork with the artist. It's currently untitled. The artist has suggested polling the community or having a sort of competition to name the artwork before its dedication ceremony. It's painted metal and treated wood, and as you can tell, it's rather large. So the artist initially gave us 4 options of work as a potential donation. In February, this donation of this untitled work and the city's donation policy, Ordinance 2014-18, was reviewed with BPAC. In March, BPAC approved the pictured work as a public art object. BPAC also approved this work for Flagstaff's public art collection and approved BAS staff to proceed with the donation under that same ordinance. And in June, Jana and I reviewed potential sites with Amy Hagan of Pros. And so from that ordinance for donation and memorial programs in city parks, these are some of the relevant criteria for choosing a site. The proposed site offers opportunities for enhancement without diminishing a park's ability to offer undefined space for quiet contemplation and or spontaneous activities. The quality, scale, and character of the gift are at a level commensurate with this particular park setting. And alternative sites were considered and determined inappropriate. So 2 of the sites that were previously discussed at BPAC were found to be unsuitable. The first, Turquoise and Forest by the Foots Trail near a bus stop. Jana and I actually found a spot that we thought was accessible to people not only using the Foots Trail, but waiting for the bus or even just driving by. Unfortunately, that location specifically was not the property of Pros' management. And so we decided to move forward with looking for another site. The Foots Trailhead at Fox Glen Park was another idea. There's already a abstract large-scale sculpture at Fox Glen Park. And so as we went to our next site here at the in Thorpe Park at the Francis Short Pond, this seemed like the optimal place to put this work. As you can tell, I hope, from the satellite image, there's actually two trails, 2 loops that go around this pond. There's an inner trail where people are fishing or having quiet moments of reflection at the pond. And then there's an outer trail that's a little bit more, it's wider and more defined, and is part of the Foots Trail system. So there's the site as it looks, and here it is with Photoshop of the sculpture added in. This is the view from that inner loop I was talking about, where people are actively engaging with the pond itself. And there's an idea of what the sculpture would look like from that inner loop. Also interesting at this Foots Trail, there's a sign that calls out the collaboration between the BBB funds and the Parks and Recreation Department at the time. So it seems like an especially appropriate site to put a BBB fund or a supported public artwork. And just for some context, this is one of Jean Gallivan's work installed at the Prescott Valley Civic Center. There, it's a much more constructed environment. We're really excited, and the artist is particularly excited to have the work in more of a natural environment. So this is just a rundown of the scope of the installation. We're hoping to receive BPAC approval. Then a week from today, we'll present this similar presentation to the Parks and Recreation Commission on August 19th. If that reaches approval, we'll go ahead and blue stake the footprint of the sculpture pad. Pros has graciously agreed to create a sculpture pad for us out of cement. They're thinking around mid to late October. The artist will deliver the work to Pros. Pros will install the work on the sculpture pad along with its plaque, and then we'll have a dedication ceremony with the artist. And there we go.
Questions or comments, folks?
Ms. Hagan, did you have anything to add?
No, I do not. I just placed a comment in the chat because that one location, it is property that is managed by Pros. That's our open space section and was recently a part of a regional plan amendment and rezone, and so it became part of Proposition 413. So that was why that no longer became an ideal or even viable location for any art piece, because a part of that proposition clearly states that there will not be any installations, construction activity, a bunch of things as a part of the group that preserves and conserves on that land. So I just wanted to make that clarifying statement in case any commissioners had a question about that.
Yeah, I think, Ms. Hagan, we actually looked at that site together, BPAC, and at that time it wasn't open space. And it became open space in the interim time.
So if there's no discussion, we can make a motion. Claire, do you have anything to say, or are you happy with we've already approved the piece. I think it's the piece in the space.
You with it? Thanks, Mike.
So is there a motion on the table?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the,
To accept the donation.
To accept the
and
donation.
Site location per ordinance 2014
to accept the donation by Galazin and site location per ordinance 2014-18. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Abstain. Motion carries, and the piece and location are approved per 2014 Right.
Next, we're gonna go to.
Right, H1 is next, new project idea, sculpture exhibition at Thorpe Park.
Okay, so this is related to that Gallows Land sighting that Jana and I did with Amy at Thorpe Park. So just north of the pond, there's an area that we noticed had these rectangular cement pads. You can see 3 of them in the satellite image. And we asked Amy what they were for, and she didn't have an idea. But to Jana and I, they looked like sculpture pads. So
Right.
They look like that to Amy too, I think.
So there's 6 of them that I found. There we go. In different area. It's a small area, but there's different natural elements around them, as you can see. Some of them have some overgrowth of vegetation that needs to be addressed. But we saw an opportunity to exhibit some sculpture there. And we thought because of the natural environment that these sculpture pads are sitting in, it gives us an opportunity to display some sculpture that would interpret Flagstaff's natural spaces, reflect contemporary environmental issues, and or promote sustainability. We thought that the summer season would be ideal for this, May to October. Best weather conditions for installation and viewing. And like the multicultural sculpture park exhibition, we're giving an opportunity to artists to receive funding to share their artistic vision, while also supporting the preservation of our landscape, wildlife, and natural resources. And like that multicultural exhibition, we will prioritize outreach to local and regional groups. And of course, we're really happy to be supported by pros in this idea. Some obstacles, it is an unmonitored space, so the works need to be completely secured to their bases to ensure the safety of the artwork as well as the visitors. The pads are going to need to be checked for structural integrity, and we need to determine if bolt holes can be drilled into them and determine how much weight each pad could potentially hold. As you noticed from the other image, there's some overgrowth of vegetation that will need to be addressed. And an increase of foot traffic to the area may require some trail maintenance in advance of the exhibition. So that's just an idea that we've had. We wanted to share it with you guys. If you have any questions or thoughts about that, we'd love to hear it.
I like the idea. I'm curious, what, I don't really remember what the cost was on the multicultural exhibition, but I would imagine that this has a similar
Yes, it would have a similar
scope
it-
and cost.
It would obviously, we would do it just slightly less than we're gonna do the multicultural for the whole year. Just because it will be up less time, but it will be in the same range.
And do we have, if we revisit the BPEC plan, how does that fit into the budget?
Okay, so this would be something that you will be approving and considering at the annual retreat.
Okay.
And so we're having just a discussion of the idea now. And then we'll, if it gives positive feedback, we will present it as a project and we will figure out all that budgeting and that will be presented at the retreat.
Foot traffic is in those areas.
Amy?
I think an excellent question. There's quite a bit of foot traffic in that area. There is the Karen Cooper trail segment of the urban trail. That's a trail segment that goes from Cheshire neighborhood all the way to downtown. So one of our heaviest traveled, not a commuter, because most of it is aggregate, but heavily traveled by multiple neighborhoods. There's a small parking lot, and that's by the a memorial to how Flagstaff was even named there at what we would call in parks the Duck Pond parking lot without another term for it. And that pond itself, it's in a partnership with Game and Fish, and Game and Fish stocks that pond weekly, and it is known as a 1-for-1. So every single fish that goes in is caught and taken out. So it's one of the highest locations in Coconino County for fishing and for the amount of fish. So I think it sees a high level of traffic, big time. We do know from Game and Fish, they know this from fishing licenses, that our Hopi tribe happens to be the highest amount of individuals that fish out of that pond. So that's some interesting data that they have that can maybe speak to us regarding some of the cultural art references that we maybe would want to put in there. So I do think it's a heavily trafficked area and a beloved space within. And Thorpe Park itself is 220 acres in size. It's our largest park out of our park system of 27 parks. So the entire area sees a lot of activity 7 days a week.
I was curious about, so Liz Archuleta, as you know, it's small and it's got a sidewalk and it's very clearly marked in terms of you're on the sidewalk and then here's a sculpture and you're on the sidewalk and here's a sculpture. And from the pictures, it looked like a lot of these pads were just in the middle of a field. Like, I'm wondering,
There's a
not just how you found them, but how will they be accessed by, I can appreciate that there's a lot of foot traffic, but there are 6 pads and some of them look to be like, are the fields mowed, you know, how?
Do you have an overhead view showing the mapping of the paths?
Yeah, I was trying to grab a map for you too. So, you know, it's a lake, a small lake, it's a pond with the aggregate foots. So that cinnamon brown foot, so a 10-foot wide trail wrapping all the way around it. And then there's a lot of activity going on there. There's a drive entrance along North Aztec Street that gets you to what we call the Aztec parking lot. That is on one side of 4 adult softball fields. There is also former Flagstaff Middle School, which will become the new Marshall Elementary School right there. Flagstaff High School is nearby. A lot of the student pupils that live in the Kinlani dormitory that walk back and forth between Flag High and the dormitory all use the path there. It is accessible. It's not that it's not accessible, and there is adjacent parking.
Oh, yeah, there's paths around it,
Yeah.
see?
Well, those 3, where are the other 3?
further down in the pine trees down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're more in the pine trees, so we do have to do a little clearing.
But even so, they're not in the middle of nowhere.
No, that's a really busy
No,
spot.
no, there's lots of traffic here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it would be good to do some trail maintenance and just make sure that it's, friendly to pedestrians and.
Yeah, you can kind of see that some of the paths are kind of in the middle of a path, like a light path. I almost think that they were like cement pads for tents to be pitched on. Like at one point, there was camping there. That's my best guess is what they were. And so they kind of sprinkled them, and so.
Yeah, how old the pads are?
We don't. I don't know. I don't, but Amy, do you have any idea how old they are?
They've got to be incredibly old. So also just for and if whoever's in charge of the map, if you cruise a little bit toward the west is where the parks workshop is. So this entire area used to be the powwow in town. So they could be remnants from that. We honestly don't know. But over there in the parks shop area, there's some old stone buildings that were used as possibly as holding cells back in the day and some other items. So there's definitely some history in here. We could try to see what any of our community members know, but we honestly don't know how these pads came to life, what they were used for before. They seem to be in fairly good shape besides the ones that have some overgrown landscaping on them. And gosh, we honestly have no idea what they were used for.
Yeah. So obviously we will have to have some structural assessment done. I don't think we could be putting a sculpture like Lance Yazzi's on it. Something that's 3,000, 2,000 pounds. I'm thinking we're gonna have more of a 300 to 500 pound weight limit. That's just my guess. But to find all that out is, kind of a next step for us.
I forgot to mention when I did my intro that in a previous life, I worked in sustainable development, and the word temporary tends to be a bit of a red flag for me in terms of sustainability. What would happen to the sculptures after the exhibition period? And would there be long-term plans for what to do with those paths?
So first of all, the multicultural park exhibition at the Archuleta Park is also a temporary sculpture exhibition. These are on loan to us. The artists own them.
Okay.
Therefore, they will be responsible for taking them away.
So,
yes, so the idea is that if we launch this, we're going to keep programming it every year.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That sounds sustainable to me.
And the pads, did you have a follow-up question about the pads?
Long term, but if this is gonna be a cycling exhibition, then the pads would be used for the same purpose
Yes.
theoretically.
Yes.
Until
We would
decide.
patch them in between, like if they drill holes into them, and then we'd patch them in between them. Until the next person wanted to attach to them.
That sounds good to me.
Commissioner Edelman, he's answering.
Claire, do you have your hand up?
I do. I just wanted to note, and well, first of all, I'm very excited about this idea. I think it would be a neat activation of this area in the park. But I do believe that area is in the floodplain. And so I think there might need to be additional special consideration for the pieces. And in that case, a temporary exhibition is especially suited, but timing and all of that, we might want to think through a little bit for the floodplain piece.
Great comment. Amy, do we know anything about that?
I am looking that up right now on GIS. Obviously, the Rio de Flag is a water course there. That's what, along with reclaimed water, helps fill the pond. But let me see if that specific space has any of the floodplain layers. Hang on.
Stop being ducks.
So.
All right, is everybody cool if I share my screen? That way I can show GIS map and let me know if you can see. Everybody see? So a lot of that space is not in any floodplain or flood zone at all. Pretty crazy when you think about it when it's right next to the Rio, but you can see here's the parking lot. I know, Claire. Yeah. And then, and I haven't seen any revised mapping to indicate otherwise, but yeah.
It's close.
It's close. There's a couple of the pads. There's the pull through parking lot, the flag and that memorial and plaque. And then you can see a few of the spaces at concrete pads in there and a few are mixed in here. Down here where the other sculpture would go would be considered in the AE zone, but I still think we're okay. And for that permanent installation, we could get what's called a floodplain use permit on that with our friends in stormwater section.
We can also build the pads up, I would assume, if we're going to look at them and determine whether they can hold something and how much they can hold, we can maybe build them up a little bit. Is that an option, Jenna?
I think it would be kind of interesting if we can use them as is, but we'll, once if they tell me that they're just gonna break anytime anybody drills them, we'll have to reconsider what we want to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the age of the concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't look like it has any rebar reinforcement, anything like that. I mean, our pads at Liz Archuleta Park it was made for sculpture. It has rebar in it. They're very strong. In fact, all the artists were really impressed with how strong the concrete was. They really had to drill.
I like it. I think it's a nice activation. My concerns would be how it interacted with the rest of our to-do list, and what it pushes back. But I know that this is an incredibly heavily trafficked area for pretty much everybody in Flagstaff at one point or another in their existence here. So I think it's worth considering.
We're also fully staffed.
Yeah. I love the idea of somebody actually producing something that's monsoon interactive. So like it's not really.
I thought of this artist that I knew who did something at Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, and she has this whole thing that part of it that floats up with the flow of the rivers. Yeah, it's like, that would be so cool.
So this is just a discussion item. Any other questions, comments? Love it. Great idea.
All right, you will see it at the annual retreat.
Thank Thank you, folks. We're gonna move down to G2, our BPAC chair selection.
Yes, so we have a convoluted way, but we have one nomination for chair, which is common board to consider. And if she wishes, Vice Chair McCord, you can have a opportunity to outline what you would bring chairmanship. Chairpersonship.
Thank you. I appreciate the nomination. So, I think really what I want to bring to this is continued involvement of every commissioner. And that's really something that I think was highlighted by my reluctance to take this on because, you know, we all have a different role that we could play on this commission. Mike Cruz is the king of going to stuff. And we know that, and it's awesome, and it's really valuable. A lot to us in that sense, and each one of us has something like that we bring. And I would like to focus on really enhancing what each individual brings to the commission and how we can, as a team, continue what we're doing. I can't believe the volume of things that we're pushing through at this point. The staff's incredible. Thank you to everyone. But I think that's really it. I don't think we need to say much more. Thank you.
Any questions, comments, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Matt and Chris. It's been moved and seconded to select Vice Chair McCord for chairperson of BPAC for a 1-year term. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
I
was gonna go fast. Just in case it was.
It was a unanimous vote. The motion carries, and congratulations. Welcome to the chairpersonship. Moving forward to the vice chair selection.
And another slightly convoluted. But we have a single nomination for vice chair, and that is our present Chair Cruz. Chair Cruz, would you like to tell us what you will bring to the vice chair?
Sure. So I really enjoy the service work, just sort of in general, in terms of Flagstaff, but I really, really enjoy this group. And I like going to things. I like being involved as much as I have been. And I am really happy to support Carla in the vice chair role for this next year. I do wish somebody else would be vice chair. So those of you that are did not self-nominate or get a nomination, please consider it because it's really nice to be involved in one of these ways, although I certainly appreciate your various obligations. So yeah, thank you for the nomination. I appreciate it. I'm really happy to support in any way that I can.
Great. I'll make the motion to approve.
Thank you, Carla.
I'll second that one too.
Thank you, Chris. It's been moved and seconded to elect me, Mike Cruz, as vice chair for a 1-year term. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
But you are chair till the end. You're chair to the end of this meeting. Yes.
Wrote it down like last
And thank you for not taking Chris's suggestion of making me chair because I was absent.
So the motion carries and I'm approved as vice chair for 1 year. Thank you, folks. Moving forward to the Beautification and Action Grant Guidelines.
Yes. BPAC. I hope you did get a chance to read the guidelines. This is a rather simple change and it's one that we discussed at the retreat and a couple of times throughout the year when we were talking about beautification and action grants. This mostly, the change in the guidelines is just about raising the amount and clarifying what amount can be used for artist fee or labor. And so what we did, you approved an increased budget in, the budget this year. So we, the changes to raise it from 4,500 to 7,500. And then not to make the material matching requirement for anything that's used as an artist fee. If you recall, is because, murals use very little materials and therefore the artist, were low for those. And then things that had a lot of materials, then the fee could be kind of artificially high. And so it just said, hey, it just can't be more than 3250. And so, but that does mean that we could have it, artist fee for a mural that is a $2,000 fee and $800 of paint, which is kind of what happens when you're going after a mural as a caliber of Desserama. I don't know. Desserama, yes, apologize, or mural mice, or, you're gonna get that difference, but it's gonna be worth it. So that's why we made those changes, but those are the basic changes to that guideline. We didn't make any others. I think we tweaked we found a few little grammar mistakes and tweaked a few things like that.
I found a couple more too, and I was going through it today.
Oh,
Um,
of course you did.
Is it the minutes?
And it will go on AI.
And our incoming chair said.
I do have a question about, when we were on that committee that had a 300-page document, the Liz Archuleta committee, I looked carefully at the budgets and I noticed, right, if it's a piece that's on loan, then the artist gets the lion's share of the budget. And if it's a piece that the artist creates from scratch, and I'm fine with whatever, but if you're talking about the difference between something created from scratch and a mural, right, and that, then I wonder about this other whole, a piece being created specifically for the park versus something that's on loan where,
Okay,
it
that's
just
not
caught
for,
my
that's
eye.
not CIA grads, but that's not a beautification in action.
Right.
But I will also say that I look at those budgets a little bit differently. Because sometimes they'll say an artist fee and then they'll have fabrication, but the artist is fabricating.
Right.
So therefore, there's a lot of fee in that fabrication. So, you would have seen that with like Lance Yancey, for instance, because he's asking for like the design fee and he's putting that as the artist fee, but then he's fabricating, so he's taking off whole big, but it's not labeled artist fee. So sometimes you have to really examine those budgets. It's not all apples to oranges. If they're having to supervise, oversee a construction, they're gonna put that oversight in there somewhere, but they exactly label it.
Right.
They could include that in the fabrication amount versus include it in their artist fee. So that's why I'm always a little bit like, every artist does that.
Right.
Even between those who are, making and not making. I think when you see the people who are doing it on loan, you'll see it all in the artist fee. You see the person making it, that artist fee is going to be in different places.
That's right, okay. Thank you for clarifying,
Yeah.
because that's,
It's stuck in your mind.
yeah, when I was going through that document. Okay, so are there any questions or comments about the BIA grant guidelines?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Carla.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated BIA guidelines. All in favor, say aye.
I think Claire said aye.
Yeah. Thank you. The motion carries, and the guidelines are approved.
And please, some of those corrections, we'll make sure that.
I will.
Okay, so now the publicly accessible art restoration grant guideline. This is also something that has come up. We had a couple of projects come up and people come ask us for restoration money when something big happened. One was a school that was moving and they had murals and they wanted our help. And we really didn't have a pathway to do it. And that had that came through the school district, and I think we had some county involvement in that ask. I'm not exactly sure how that one ended up resolving. But then we also had the mural on the bicycle shop. And as you know, we went ahead and we gave some money. He was putting tens of thousands of dollars into it, and we put, we gave him some help, so that he could try to save that wall. Because if you couldn't save that stucco on that side, they were gonna have to replace it, and then they're gonna have to repaint the mural. And that mural was done with all private funds to begin with, but it's kind of become part of the public art collection. And the muralist said he was too old to repaint it. He didn't want to do it. So really saving this mural was the best in for a project. But we talked about at that time, why don't we have? And we talked about it in terms of murals because those are the two things that came up. So I kind of outlined the parameters of that last July. We had a discussion about it. And I said, though, writing new guidelines was going to have to wait till we were fully staffed. And in June, we were fully staffed. And so also Corey brought a lot of expertise to some of the suggestions that went into these guidelines, and we reviewed them with legal, and so everything's legal about it. So basically it doesn't have a deadline. It's a rolling grant. It is only up to 2 in any fiscal year. So we will only budget 15,000. It is not in the budget for this year because we did not know when it was going to go, but we do have a special programs budget line that it will fit under. It's called special and unprogrammed projects. Yes, it's now it was an unprogrammed project and now it's programmed. So we do have the funding to go ahead and offer it this year. So basically, we're gonna only have a soft launch. I will put it out in the newsletter so that the artists who signed up will know. I'm going to put it out to the other city departments because these things generally come in as requests, right? Make sure that city council knows about it. So a constituent comes to them, they can direct them to us. But we're not gonna do a big launch on this. It's really, I think it's only gonna come up sporadically. But it is also up to $7,500. It'll have the same thing about labor. Labor will, be up to half of it, or an artist fee will be up to half. It will require a match though. We're not gonna pay for the whole thing. They have to at least put up, they have to match. And it is, this isn't our regular collection. Our regular collection, we take care of. Anything that we build, the courthouse, the library, the Coconino Scroll, which actually have a little piece of glass damage, we just fix out of our maintenance budget. This is for those BIA grants or something that somebody privately just funded, but it is publicly accessible. And we are only gonna do art. We're not gonna get into gardens, landscaping, at this juncture. And it's not for something that just needs regular maintenance. This is for something cataclysmic. A car, like the truck ran into the Bruce Aikens art wrap in the Aspen Alley and it got damaged. It's for that kind of catastrophic event. If lightning strikes one of the utility. Never happened. That isn't ours, that, is the one at the Dale condos, right? Like theirs gets struck and they want to rewrap it, so it's gonna be that, kind of.
So not for wear and tear, not for aging.
No. Unless it's just been a catastrophic collapse. It's, if a wall that it's on collapses, that's, different thing.
Like the example I'm thinking of is the Baje Whitethorn mural on the side of Puente de Hoyo, which has seen quite a bit of deterioration and it needs
action in coding or professional
No,
restoration.
I think, yeah,
And also that's my other question.
was
is
that a
what if
BIA
person's
grant?
deceased?
Was that a BIA grant?
No, that's a Puente de Hojo
Okay.
thing.
It'll be different. Anybody who applied for a BIA grant, they had they're supposed to do regular maintenance on any project they do. If it's not, and they weren't required to, yeah, it's gonna be a judgment call by BPAC. This is really gonna be a case by case basis. But if it was a BIA grant and they didn't do their maintenance like they were supposed to, I think we're gonna have to say no. But if it's somebody else and they never had, a maintenance plan and it's just gotten to us.
Yeah.
Gross point of deterioration, then yes.
Well, I'm kind of thinking about it because it's similar to the bicycle mural situation. Like that particular piece of art is in our collection. It's something that's on the public art map.
It's on the public art map.
It's publicly accessible too.
It's publicly accessible. There's also a Shaka Begay piece there that's on plywood that's deteriorating. And so I'm just thinking that those are two pieces that would be specifically like, they will be catastrophically failing soon. And so then maybe they'll.
Right.
And then also like the idea that somebody else is that a person would have to be responsible for half of it. But in the case of Bahe, that would not be possible. But does that not make it an even more critical situation in terms of making sure that we preserve something that can't be?
Well, if so, let's just say,
Replicated.
an artist or, somebody applied, for this grant, they could crowdfund for that.
Interesting.
I have a question about the money. So it's two 7,500 grants a year and that's it. But what if it's, less than the 7,500 because it is a cabinet that I'm thinking of the NAU cabinet, right? Someone hits it and so we replace that, but it's not up to 7. I'm thinking of the budget is what I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Like, could it be divided into multiple projects?
Right.
It's a low cost.
Right. If it's less than 15 a year, would you consider an extra or are we?
Oh, so would you like the guidelines? I hadn't considered that and I think it's a really good consideration. You could,
This is actually the
consider-
document I started reading.
right, so, modify the guidelines to say that no more than $15,000 total rather than 2 projects. We could do it that way.
I mean, if we've got the money and we've got the projects.
It may also drive approvals. Because if there are 3 projects that we could fix within that budget, maybe we don't select the more expensive repair. If it's, if we decide that they all hold a similar cultural value.
Right. The problem is that you're not gonna know, 1 year you're gonna have 1 and 1 year you're gonna have 10, that's what's gonna happen. And it's a rolling deadline, so they're basically gonna come up not together.
So
And not like the DIA grants, you're just gonna have to decide, are we gonna fund this when it comes up, and then if another one comes in. But I am open to that suggestion, instead of saying 2 projects per year up to 7,500, that project up that don't exceed a total budget of 15,000.
Fiscal year.
7,500 per project.
7,500,
Yeah.
a maximum of 7,500 per project, but we cannot expend more than 15,000 a year. And we can modify that.
I like that modification.
That's reasonable.
Why is the 15,000?
It's a budgetary limit. I looked at my own program budget and, plus we've only had 2 requests in the last 4.5 years.
So are we making a motion to approve as discussed in terms of slight modification, or are we making the motion to approve as presented?
Yeah, so somebody can make a motion either way. And whoever makes the motion first, it gets voted on.
I'll move to approve as modified.
Okay.
Secondly.
Thank you. It's been Moved and seconded to approve the art restoration grant guidelines as modified, indicating up to a $15,000 per year expenditure. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Right.
Thank you. The motion carries. It was unanimous. Moving forward to H2, completed projects in fiscal year 24.
All right, completed project highlights. As I said before, we had a reprioritization with understaffing for fiscal year 24. 10 months out of the 12, we were 2 people instead of 1. But I think our reprioritization, maybe we had less completed projects. Certain things that we thought were going to finish up in May, like the Aspen niche, like the phone booth. We had to defer because we just didn't have enough staff to complete them. It wasn't just our staff. It was capital projects staff. We needed a capital projects manager for Aspen niche, and then one was not available until just last month. So what we did though, I think we invested in the program in a way that, it's gonna have a lot of roots, it's gonna produce a lot of fruit in the future. So of course, we did a lot of outreach. We, made our stickers and our mugs, but they made a lot more people aware of our program. And we've been also giving them out around the state, trying to put Flagstaff on the map. And I'm just gonna, call out Kristen Grajito. She really stepped in this year and helped us with all these, all this outreach, single-handedly. You can see some of the things that we partnered on. We weren't the lead, like the Cheshire asphalt art. We gave a little bit of time, made the projects better, and so hopefully help build some other success. And that certainly, talks about our collaboration with ArtX. We had, a couple of events that were part of that, including the, what you saw in the video, the, opening celebration of the multicultural sculptural exhibition at Liz Archuleta Park. We also finally got to do a wonderful tour of the Coconino Scroll during that event. And then we, took a couple of field trips. We went down to Tucson for the Arizona Art Administrators meeting. We had a couple of commissioners, and we also co-produced a workshop for artists on how to apply for public art projects with the Shemer Art Museum. And we collaborated with the City of Phoenix Office of Arts and Culture on that. I think that I know the artists who attended. And, that's the kind of the picture with, Mr. Garcia doing one of his like this. And, Tracy McCoy was there. Meg Caboti was there. Anouk was there. And then, I'm not remembering her name right now.
Sonia London Hall.
Sonia London Hall there, thank you. She was there, so we really had we brought artists, we paid for the artists to go down. We, waived their fee, we paid their fee for the workshop. So that was, and that collaboration will continue. We'll be doing another workshop in March of this year. So, we'll figure out what the focus of that is. And then, of course, we really concentrated a lot on this upcoming, cultural arts and sciences cultural survey. And we had those cafe conversations led by Eliza Kretzman, the former program manager. And those cafe conversations were quite an event to put on, but we really ended up with some valuable information. We have to rebid the cultural leadership contract. And we have to do it this year. And all that groundwork from last year helped feed that. So although you're not going to see as many projects completed this year as you did last year, we put a lot of energy out there because we couldn't move on those projects. And I think it will really pay off. And then also we got to really, again, with the great outreach of Kristen, we did some of the things that always get overlooked, like we applied for awards, and we were rewarded with an award for applying. So that was the Arizona Forward Awards, and we got a nice little mention there for the library project, and we'll do it again. We won't lose sight of this. But as far as our program, and we kind of have these things that we try to hit, that public art, the kind of values that it reflects. So, we have our, flowers program, 5th year of completion, plus our monument sign restoration that started last year. We got 1 sign done, but always trying to humanize the built environment and just invigorate our public spaces. And so, the flowers just continue, and I'm sorry, the Flagstaff airport is so fuzzy, but it was a little, really a little.
Were you
bit
driving?
vague. I know.
She was flying.
Yeah, I know. I was flying through, and then also it's already the Corten steel is obviously started to rust, and it looks a little different now. But then again, our BIA grant projects, I think there are one of our pride and joys, that whole program. It reflects and reveals our society. They add meaning because this is our most public art. The ideas are generated by the public themselves, and they're carried out and maintained. Now, we do provide a lot of suggestions and guidance so that they're successful in their grant applications. But these aren't all of them. But there's the Dale Condo art wraps. There's the Chocolita mural. Really fun was doing the cosmic ray sheepherders tunnel with plaques. The plaques came about 6-7 months later after the mural. So the mural pictures, I don't have good pictures with the plaque on. But just really excited about how those turned out. And maybe we'll see another one, another project that will connect the 2 ends down the center of the tunnel. We're fingers crossed that someday.
Is that foreshadowing?
Yeah, I'm foreshadowing. Over at one of the sustainability building in Thorpe Park, we had the pollinator mural. And then, very exciting. Mural for the founders in Flagstaff. Just a really exciting mural. And then, of course, just, it's a fun dark skies. They got their mural, and I think it, it makes quite a lively space from the street. But then I think our 2, big, major public art projects this year, we're adding those bronze medallions to the Coconino Scroll with the landscaping, and to finish off that project, and then the Multicultural County Park Sculpture Exhibition year 1. I think that it is such an exciting project. It was a long time from its conception to getting it out there. We had a lot to work out with the county, the initial contracts with the artists, things that will make year 2 a lot easier for everything that we went through in year 1. But I think you can see from the video, it was quite a successful project. And if you haven't been out there, please do go. And so Here's the, our medallions. You can see on the left, it's kind of right when they came out of the, the boundary. And on the right, you can already see they're getting that nice copper penny kind of patina. So those were our highlights.
Thank you. Questions or comments, folks?
That's pretty impressive for, two staff. So I think your, apologies were unnecessary. That's, I should be proud of it.
Nice job, team. Thanks.
Great job, folks. Next up is a party.
Yes.
Item H3. Question while you're setting up, whatever happened to the bricks that they were gonna remove and do downtown? Do you remember that?
The ones in what Plaza
Oh,
I don't think it was Plaza Vieja. It was the,
no, this was the.
remember they were re-breaking or the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure roads and streets have ended up with that.
Okay.
The pilot program for replacing the pavers.
They come up from the trees, the roots, remember they were gonna either
Yeah,
stamp or.
they haven't gone forward with it.
They were gonna do the street tree and whole area redo on Viva. So we're actually going to be doing it tomorrow and ask for an update on that, because it does seem like things going.
They've gone radio silent.
I was just
It's
curious.
stalled.
I drive around and I think, whatever happened with that randomly? And I usually will email Jana, but since this came up, I thought, I wonder what happened with
It's
that.
coming back to me a little bit. There's a hotel that's doing some things.
The hotel died.
The hotel died.
That was part of it, is that there was a hotel that was gonna be doing some improvements. And so there was this whole process of trying to align with the hotel. My understanding, I guess I shouldn't say that for sure, but my understanding is that hotel is no longer pursuing the property and the development, and therefore it changes the way the project would go, because obviously we were sort of working around what they were gonna be obligated to do. And but we can certainly try to find out.
Everybody, you're gonna have to stand up and come get your cookie. We're not passing the small big trailer.
Well, you get the first cookies.
So
Sorry, pardon me. It's like,
this is for our appreciation for the service of Commissioner Barrow for 2 of his 3 years. And for Chair Coons for all he did as chair in this last year, because he did attend all of these events. He was down in Tucson, he was down in Phoenix, twice, right? He was twice the awards too, and as well as showing up to 4, to help celebrate the EIA grants and all of that. I had hoped, so one thing about, I will just first say about Chair Cruz is that Chair Cruz has definitely been behind the scenes, pushing little things. You like the stickers and the mugs, just encouraging staff.
And the.
And as you know, staff, you guys saw staff, well, first, it was the logo.
Right.
And we unveiled the logo at the last BPAC retreat. And then out of the logo, it was, let's make name tags. And staff got their name tags. And we desperately tried so hard to get your guys' name tags, BPAC's commissioner name tags in the same style with the logo. Today, there was somebody key who was on vacation or on leave for a couple of weeks, and they didn't quite make it here, but they'll be here by September. So we haven't said that.
No names, I gotta quit.
But those name tags are definitely an honor at Sierra Cruz. I know the second I have the name tags out that next month. For polo shirts, right? That's coming.
No, I will have comments about that.
I will too. That is not a.
We can do better.
Yeah, yeah, yes, we'll talk about, but I know that's coming up next. But so I have had, privilege of, talking every month with Chair Cruz because we talk through the agenda. And that's where a lot of these incursions come, about the name tags and the logos and things like that. But it's really helped push our outreach in a very positive way. And then Commissioner Barrel, I mean, we have had some nice interactions too. I'm starting off the comments. It's like you were on the downtown mile focus group. Do you remember that? The railroad tunnel, the railroad bridge.
Okay.
Yeah. Ah.
I haven't been to as many as you have, and they just blur together.
Yeah, they blur together. I think though the main thing that Chris had was the person who originally came, the idea for cats. And I think most of our interactions have been related to BPAC, but they have been more in that venue as we were both on that committee. And, it's really, it really helped shape a wonderful festival that we hope to, build on, and keep going. There's definitely been a long, I think, city staff has come a long way through everything that you put forward in that process. And I was really excited by how things turned out this last year, even with the things that we all know need to be improved. But I really appreciated your contributions for that.
You'll be missed. I wish you luck.
Well, thank you.
I hope everything goes well from move to job to everything else. As stressful as change like that can be.
Yeah, change is stressful, but it's a good move.
Yeah.
Did your theater, didn't get flooded, did it, this last week?
Not this last week, but they got hit hard by Hurricane Ian 2 years ago. And I've seen video footage of water up to here off the front door.
Wow.
And so they went through a recovery, and I told them I had experience with flooding.
Their flooding is water, not sewage.
That was my point. They had a lot more, but ours was disgusting.
Well, you're gonna be in Tampa, right? And Debbie was on the other coast, or is that?
Debbie was on the Gulf Coast. I'm about 2 hours south of Tampa.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and it hit Sarasota hard, which is the town
Okay.
between Fort Myers and Tampa. So,
Okay.
yeah, they got hit hard, but it was Hurricane 1 as opposed to Hurricane whatever Ian was 2 years ago.
Yeah, my firstborn's name was Ian, and I was like calling him, Zoe, would you calm down? You're really wrecking havoc down there.
Called him more often. They could have used it.
And he just, he didn't pick up.
So, we do have an agenda to finish out. Did anybody have anything to say to Chris as this is his final meeting?
Thank you.
Nothing I won't put in the minutes.
Well, I thank you all for all your hard work and commitment. I mean, we know staff does so much of the bulk of this, and Jana's got a system that she's very organized very well so she can congeal the opinions of this commission. And I think that works extremely well. So my thanks to her and to all of you. I know staff depends on this commission for sort of what's the community think about things. And I'll end on my forever note, is continue to use art to bring the city of Flagstaff together.
Thank you.
And does anybody else want to add nice contributions to the chairmanship in the last few years?
Oh, I'm delighted that you're here for a long time then.
I actually thought I was rotating up next year, but I guess.
No, you have one more year. Yeah, this year and next year.
Yeah.
And that'll be lovely.
So next is requests for future agenda items, 2 from items. So just as an FYI, at this point in the meeting, if a commissioner wants to bring something up and discuss it and address it at a next meeting, or future meeting, right, right, thank you for that clarification. And as long as it gets 2 nods, we put it on the future agenda. Anything to consider, folks?
Not this time.
Okay, so then the next date and time for our meeting is September 9th, 2024. It will be hybrid as they all are, and I will adjourn the meeting at 5:31 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for your service, Michael.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hi. Yeah, you guys stay tuned for these, but we bring that cookies. We gotta go.
These are like snickerdoodly things.